I was recently asked to make a custom hand-painted mug as a retirement gift. So before I make this gift, I figured I'd perform a little experiment. I did some research, I read some articles, I watched some YouTube videos, and I found the most common steps. So I'm going to put them all together, and I'm going to see if I can not only make a beautiful mug, but I can make a mug that will be able to withstand hand washing, heating, and maybe even an accidental run through the dishwasher. So let's get our stuff together and give them a try. Before we get started, let's talk about some of the off-camera prep and supplies I'll be using for this little experiment. So I got a white mug and a black mug just from the local dollar store. I was curious if it would make a difference in how well the paint adheres depending on the color of the mug. So I got them home, washed them, then I took rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball and just wiped it all along the outside to get rid of any other soap residue, any lingering fingerprints, just kind of one last clean on the surface of those mugs. And speaking of rubbing alcohol, I am keeping rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip handy. Will be how you could erase any mistakes. You could use nail polish remover, but that's a little bit more abrasive, so you don't want to run the risk of taking the finish off your mug. So I'm going to go with this and a Q-tip because it'll be nice and small if I need to get in somewhere. So for markers, I am going with Sharpie oil-based paint pens. I've got fine tip and extra fine tip here. And I went with what I thought were pretty standard colors. I did black, white, silver, and gold. So I'm going to try a little bit of everything on the mugs to see if any particular color has better longevity. Oh, and also I kept my paper handy so you can keep blotting your pens and keep them nice and juicy while you're working. I find that the metallics showed up way better on the black mug than the white mug. They just pop a little more. They're not as opaque on the white mug, and you can really see every imperfection there, where here, not as much. I've heard that metallic inks are a little finicky when it comes to this process, so we'll see how well they hold up. The solid white and black went on really well too. So we will see what happens. Now we bake. All right, so I've placed the mugs in the oven, and now we're gonna turn on the oven so the mugs come up to heat as the oven preheats as well. So I have decided, with all the research, I'm gonna go for 350 degrees, and once it comes to temperature, we'll set a timer for 30 minutes. We'll be back. The oven is at temperature, so now we are going to start it for 30 minutes. All right, these bad boys have been cooking for 30 minutes. I am going to turn off the oven, and the mugs are gonna cool down while still in the oven. I'm gonna leave them there probably for like an hour or two to make sure they're absolutely room temperature before I take them out of the oven. You don't want to put them in an already hot oven or shock them by taking them out of the hot oven. You could run the risk of breaking the mug because of such a drastic temperature change. All right, it's the next day. I let them sit in the oven for about 2 hours to get up to room temperature. And the black ink on the white mug, you can see, has a bit of a texture to it. So something happened in the oven. And then over here, no real change, still really shiny. The white ink on the black mug does not have that same effect. It's still really smooth. And then same over here. This is just lint. All right, so next step is to hand wash. Here we are at the final step in our experiment. Did these mugs survive the dishwasher? So let's start with the black mug. This was the one I was most skeptical about. The gold paint stayed, the silver did not, but the white held up just fine. So not bad at all. And then for the traditional white mug, the black marker came out great, a little bit right there. Didn't quite make it through, but this was the best of all the sides. And then again over here, the silver marker just didn't make it. So there we have it. All right, let's sum up this whole experience. First of all, I do think it's important to do the gradual baking process. Put the mugs in the oven first, let it come to temperature, cook them for 30 minutes, and then let them cool down while they're still in the warm oven. I do think if you were to put them in the hot oven or immediately take them out, it would crack your mug, so I made sure to not skip this step. Speaking of baking, the magic combo was 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. That yielded the best results. And finally, even though the mugs did pretty much survive the dishwasher, I'm always going to recommend that somebody hand washes a mug that you've painted yourself. It is nice to know that it will survive an accidental run through the dishwasher. I'm just not sure how well that would last long term. So now that you know all the steps, you can give it a try yourself. Let me know if you've done it before or if you're going to give it a try this time, and let me know how it goes.